And there we go. Grrrr. Greetings, humans. Greetings, and welcome back to another fun-filled episode. Bear here, 29-year veteran of the woods, and today, people, I tell you what, we are right in the middle of the dog days of summer out there, and I can't speak for the dogs out there, but I tell you what, with a fur coat, it's just not living right here for old Bear. You know, he tries to get out there by the river to cool off, take a little chill pill, and then of course all the caravan of boats that come by and everything. So Bear has not had either peace or coolness here in the heat of summer. So at any rate, Bear shouldn't complain too much. Good to see Jiminy Cricket out here. What does Bear have brewing for us today? Well, let's just go ahead. I mean, since we're already there, let's just go ahead and get right on into it. Actually, I tell you what, people, Bear has been on the case here of what was called the Disinformation Governance Board out there. So we all remember our good friend out there, Nina, out there. Unfortunately, she had to part ways there, but that's all right. They are making a return here. It is the return. It would be the Jedi. It would be the return of the Disinformation Board. I don't know. I couldn't come up with a good one there. But let's go ahead, get right on into it here, people, because we got this from the New York Post. Yes, indeed, good friends there at the New York Post. Where is Bear here? Where is Bear? There's Bear, right there. By the way, they had the story where Biden fell off of his bike. Ah, poor guy. I tell you what, just can't do it, as it were. And by the way, Bear, I tell you what, people, a bear can learn new tricks out there. So he actually has the chat. He finally figured out how to do the chat on here. It's too wide for me. I got to figure out how to size this properly here. I'm not really sure here, but at any rate, figured that out. So hopefully, be able to do some of that, and especially for the other channel, be able to get that out here a little bit quicker here. A little bit quicker. All right, let's go ahead and get right on into it. The New York Post from Steve Nelson out there. Big Sister number 2, numero dos. Kamala, how do you pronounce it? Harris, Mrs. Harris, leads the latest Biden disinformation team. Yes, indeed. Another day, another White House disinformation task force. The Biden administration on Thursday created a new internet policy task force. This one led by the vice president. So I think our free speech is not in danger at all. If anything, to go by the border or like the war in Ukraine or anything like that, anything she's been a part of is finally it went to the crapper. So hopefully this one as well here. With the goals of including programs and policies to protect political figures and journalists from disinformation, I would assume misinformation, and malinformation, abuse, and harassment. The action follows the Department of Homeland Security's disastrous April rollout of its Disinformation Governance Board, which was paused after outrage over the perceived, it's perceived, no biggie. No biggie, just a perceived step towards a government-led internet censorship. A presidential memorandum establishing the new task force describes a sweeping mission to protect people who seek out a role in public life from online critics, including Bear out here. In the United States and around the world, women and LGBTQI++++, political leaders, public figures, activists, and journalists are especially targeted by sexualized form of online harassment and abuse, undermining their ability to exercise their human rights and participate in democracy, governance, and civic life. Well, I would assume if you're in the public sphere, yeah, you're probably going to have that there. Yes, you are. Let me actually, I am getting a little too cluttered here. A little too cluttered there. There we go. There we go. Where was I? Online abuse and harassment, which aims to preclude women from policy decision making about their own lives and communities, undermines the functioning of democracy. Oh darn. Well, actually, we're a constitutional republic, so I would assume any a good American out there should undermine the functioning of a democracy. The new task force includes members of Biden's heavy hitters, such as Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas, Attorney General Merrick Garland, and Secretary of State Anthony Blinks Twice Blinken. The panel held its first meeting Thursday afternoon. Harris did not specifically use the term disinformation in her opening remarks, but declared, quote, all people deserve to use the internet free from fear. Oh, that's nice. He looks very surprised there. Goes on, a quote, we still have so much more work to do to protect people from online harassment and abuse, which is why the work of this task force is so important. A baby formula, getting the gas price to come down, screw all of that. We need to protect the LGBTQ plus community and also ourselves from online harassment. Context, well, the internet is an essential part of life in the 21st century. Can't get around without it. The wise words of Heels Up Harris there. 1 in 3 women under the age of 35 report being sexually harassed online. Over half of the LGBTQ plus people in this country how can you be survivors of severe harassment? Nearly 1 in 4 Asian Americans reports being called an offensive name. The vice president said no one should have to endure abuse just because they are attempting to participate in society. I would say, maybe say that to the poor folks that are locked up there in, underneath the Capitol there waiting for their day in court there. They're still being locked up there. Within 180 days, the panel will submit to Brandon a blueprint that, quote, outlines a whole of government approach to preventing and addressing technology facilitated gender-based. Holy cow, that is a whole lot of hyphenations there. If you have maybe more than like 2 or 3 hyphenations in your sentence, you might want to rethink that. Violence, including concrete actions that executive departments, agencies, and offices have committed to take to implementing the task force recommendations. Within a year, the board will issue a report with, quote, additional recommendations and actions advising broader steps that can be taken by internet platforms, state and local governments, and schools. For some reason, the document says that sounds suspiciously like the old fascism out there. In April, Brandon came under fire for the creation of what critics called, those critics out there, a dystopian disinformation bureau under the DHS, which many viewed as a way for the government to police free speech online. Yeah, and they talk about Elon Musk there. The board's champion, good old Nina, drew fire and ultimately withdrew her support from the project after it was revealed that she repeatedly tried to spread doubt about the Post reporting, the New York Post here, about the Hunter Biden's notorious laptop, telling the Associated Press in 2020 that it should be viewed as a Trump campaign product. Let's see, she also had a very interesting TikTok performance there, singing the Mary Poppins song. Yes, indeed. So there you are. There you are. It is kind of a interesting thing there. But yeah, basically they're going to have the government try and protect government officials from being abused online. So there you go. Yeah, so there you go. Good old New York Post. Once again, we will give the shout out to Stephen Nelson. Stephen Nelson out there. Very good. By the way, I didn't get into the. I missed it. I missed it the other day. The Fauci, the doctor out there has the Wu flu. Poor guy. That couldn't happen to a nicer person out there. So there you go. Unfortunately, missed out on that. So. Anyways, kind of dealing a little bit with that. This gets into a little bit of a kind of a little bit into the weeds. I just stick with Bear here. He does have a point to all of this. This is coming from a site called Breaking Defense. You don't want to break your defense out there. He says, not making, quote, not making effing widgets here. Smith defends the acquisition process. This is from Lee Farron. Just stick with me here. He does have a point here. The chairman of the House Armed Services Committee today passionately pushed back on the idea that wasteful spending, rather, on defense systems is the result of ineptitude or lack of oversight in Congress, telling reporters, quote, we're not making effing widgets here. It looks like he's like saying that right there. We're not making effing widgets here. Rawr. The comments from Representative Adam Smith came in response to a reporter's assertion that the Pentagon spends billions of dollars on systems that fail, including some high-profile controversies like the Navy's LCS program, and there's little consequences for officials involved in those decisions. And he says, what? We didn't take anyone out and execute them. Well, I think there is a little bit of a gulf in between letting people just completely waste money and executing them there. I think there might be a little... Although you start executing people and hopefully they don't spend all... it's kind of like the executions will continue until the morale improves out there. He says the key point here is the modernization of what's going on in the last 20 years and how to... 20 years of complete waste and how to fix it. But to presume that it's just because we've let these people go along and waste money, I don't think that accurately reflects what's happening in terms of who's accountable or not, and also the degree of difficulty. It is not properly calculated. I think this presumption there that this group of clowns are working around in Congress and the Pentagon just throwing money around because they're too stupid to know anything is bull poop out there. And it's not helpful in terms of trying to fix it. He goes on, let's see, what's actually happening is some smart people, the chairman today acknowledged that the Pentagon has a terrible run just from the years 2000 to 2015, and said that the problem was that technology was progressing far faster than development could keep up. But now he says the acquisition process is in a much better place. Yes, indeed. So once again, going back to our disinformation board out there, could you say, hey, Chairman, you've been wasting quite... You, sir, the one in charge of spending all that money, has been wasting quite a bit of money out there. Well, you get the response there, and then, of course, what do you expect us to do? Go out and execute people? That might not be a bad idea. Anyways, so there you are. It just kind of goes to show you how they are not... they're not really taking responsibility for some of that stuff. So if you go back and you try to do the disinformation board, which is saying that we need to protect these people out there, basically you have the government coming in and saying that people cannot hold people like Mr. Smith here responsible for the clear violation of his negligent duties out there. So completely wasting a whole bunch of... There was something they passed, like a bill. I think it was like $700-800 billion for the Defense Department. That's crazy. It's like nearly $1 trillion. That's nuts. That's nuts, people. So the idea that there's no waste out there, I think is pretty far from the truth. All right, I tell you what, people. We talk a little bit about acquisition processes, yada yada yada. Let's go ahead. Let's have a little bit of fun here. News story here, coming from our good folks at the Tampa Bay Times. Let's see, and it is Mary Ferrello. Ferrello? How are you pronouncing it, Mary? The Lightnings, that would be the Stanley Cup, two-time Stanley Cup champions, the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Lightning's secret weapon? Maybe it's Bathroom Becky. Tampa Bay is 7-0 in this postseason when lifelong fan Becky McKean stands outside the bathroom near section 106 at the Great Emily Arena. Becky McKean has struck with one tried and true tradition this past month and a half. Even the run to the airport didn't change things when the Lightning needed her. Tampa Bay led its second round playoff series against Florida Panthers 1-0, but game 2 was tied at 1 in the third period. A great game. McCain was en route to pick up her daughter Grace at Tampa Bay International Airport. When on the way, she asked her husband Barry to make a quick pit stop. It's not like they're right next to each other there. Make a quick pit stop at Amalie Arena. It was time to work her particular brand of magic. When McCain is standing outside the bathroom, the Lightning score. So with only 2 minutes remaining, McCain made her way over to the porta potty stalls at the backside of Thunder Alley. And that's not a euphemism there. They do actually have Thunder Alley out there. With 3.8 seconds remaining, Ross, the boss Colton out there, found the back of the net to give the Lightning a 2-1 win. I videotaped it because I wanted everyone to know this was legit, says McCain of Tampa Bay. On a Lightning's fans Facebook page, McCain is known as Bathroom Betty. Fans will visit her outside the women's restroom near section 106 at Amalie Arena to pose for a selfie and thank her for her service. Yes, indeed. She has received personalized gifts such as a Bathroom Becky t-shirt, a keychain, and a blue Yeti cup with the decal hashtag Bathroom Becky under the Lightning logo. Some fans have offered her an adult beverage or two during the games. Since restarting the tradition, McCain is undefeated at Lightning home games. It just becomes this hilarious thing that just went crazy. The tradition started about 4 or 5 years ago when McCain discovered the Lightning would often score when she was in the bathroom. She hadn't intentionally used the trick in a while, but that changed when the Lightning trailed the Maple Leafs. The poor Maple Leafs. 2-1 in the opening round series. Standing under the women's sign of the restroom section near section 106, she watches the games on a set of raised televisions in the main corridor. She'll hear the goal horn and the crowd celebrations from the main bowl before the play appears on the delayed taping. I had pictures of this. Where is it? Let me hold on, people. Let's see. Is it going to do the thing with the thing? There we go. There is her great view. Her great view right outside of the bathroom there. There you go. On Mother's Day, Steven Stamkos scored the opening goal of Game 4 within a minute of McCain leaving her seat in the lower bowl. The team went on to score another 2 before the end of the first period. McCain stayed until the team had a 5-0 lead before returning to her seat to a parade of high fives from people in her section. When Lightning played Game 7, McCain and an administrator at Grace Christian School was chaperoning the school's prom at Meridian, Tampa. With encouragement from her students, she went to find the women's restroom at the hotel. 1 minute later, Nick Paul, who looks suspiciously like Lenny from The Simpsons, scored the winning goal. Her students started dancing. Yes, indeed. There's Becky, standing once again outside of the bathroom stall. I believe in God, and I'm not like super weird, but as they say in the office, I'm a little suspicious, McCain says. I mean, you've got to admit, this is just kind of weird. As for Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final against the Rangers, McCain and her family couldn't get tickets to the watch party, so they watched the game inside the lobby of the J.W. Marriott Hotel behind Thunder Alley. With the score tied at 1 at the end of the second period, McCain tried Amalie again. She approached one of the arena's staffers outside, telling her, I know this is going to sound crazy, but there's only 1 period left, and I was wondering if I could come sit in the bathroom. The attendant didn't recognize McCain or her story, so she went to go get a supervisor. Wait, quote, wait, I think I've heard about you before, McCain recalled the supervisor telling her before going to get her a paper ticket. Quote, all right, go stand in the bathroom. McCain made it just in time for Andre Palat, my man Palat, thanks a Palat, to score the winner with Brandon Hagel, Bagel, adding an empty net goal at 51 seconds later for the 3-1 win, yes indeed. McCain wasn't taking any chances for Game 6, so she stood outside the bathroom for the entirety of the game's 2-1 win. At one point, a guest services offered her a chair when McCain, who coached basketball for 30 years and never sat down on the bench, politely declined. They brought her some cupcakes instead. So there you go. Very cool. There is, let me go to it. There is a Bathroom Becky. Bathroom Becky out there. I almost made that the thumbnail for the show here, but I decided against this. So there you go. Very cool. Very cool. All right, let me check no chats here. I don't know. Maybe let's see if I can close it here and that goes back to the thing. Okay, there we go. I just wanted to test that out. All right, there we are. Good old Bathroom Becky out there. Yes, indeed. All right, kind of an interesting story here. I don't know if I want to get into the entire thing here, but John Hinckley Jr. Concerts in Chicago and Connecticut canceled. The promoter seeks a new venue in Brooklyn. With an update from Deadline and Greg Evans out there. So there you go. There is Mr. Hinckley. Many people might not know who Mr. Hinckley is. Let's get right on into it here. John Hinckley Jr.'s planned Brooklyn concert was actually the third stop on a so-called redemption tour to cancel, says the singer-songwriter who attempted to assassinate President Ronald Reagan in 1981. I've had 3 concerts canceled: Chicago, Connecticut, and now Brooklyn, Hinckley tweeted this afternoon. Their promoter is looking for another venue. Yes, indeed. So I think this is one of the greatest smackdowns of an artist out there with the statement here from this what's called the Market Hotel kind of venue there. So let me read that here. After lots of consideration, we are canceling the scheduled event at Market Hotel with John Hinckley. This event came to Market Hotel through a third-party promoter, and we approved it because it sounded like an interesting gathering and a memorable night. Hosting provocative happenings for its own sake is valid and should be part of any venue's reason to exist. Really? Well, wonder if you're going to hold any MAGA people there. The tour also sends a message that mental health issues and a criminal past can be recovered from and atoned for after serving one's debt to society and getting real treatment. There was a time when a place could host things like this, maybe a little offensive, and the reaction would be, quote, it's just a guy playing a show. Who does it hurt? It's a free country. We aren't living in that kind of free country anymore. Thanks, Brandon. For better, or well, I would say it would be for worse, not really for better there. It's worth reiterating. It's worth reiterating that this guy's performance harms no one in any practical way. This is a sexagenarian with an acoustic guitar. All the outrage and concern are entirely about the, quote, message it sends, unquote. Make no mistake, why didn't they just quote it instead of saying quote? Make no mistake, canceling this concert will not deter future assassins and will have no effect on mass shootings. Blah, 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 blah. It goes on here a bit. I want to get back to the very last thing here. Let's see. So it says, let's see. Let me find it here. Let's see. So they were saying, in doing so, it puts our vulnerable communities at risk without their consent, especially if that artist wouldn't have sold the tickets without the story of who they are and the violent things that they did. If we're going to host an event for the principal and potentially put others at risk in doing so, it shouldn't be for some stunt booking. No offense to the artists. We might feel differently if we believed the music was important and transcended the infamy, but that's just not the case here. Though any artist can get there, even someone who's committed awful crimes and suffered mental illness. I wonder if they would let Dave Chappelle do something there. It's not worth the gamble on the safety of our vulnerable communities to give a guy a microphone and a paycheck from his art who hasn't had to earn it. Who we don't care about on an artistic level and who upsets people in a dangerous, radicalized, reactionary climate. Love the Market Hotel. So I thought that was a very epic smackdown of a guy that tried to assassinate somebody. So watch out, Market Hotel out there. You better watch your back out there with the old Hinckley out there. Yes, indeed. So there you go. He actually has a YouTube channel. So go figure. Go figure on that. kind of had another couple here. I'm not going to go through them all here. Just a couple of headlines. Simpsons writer gets second chance. A degree after court slams Harvard sex misconduct probe. Very interesting. There we talked about the woo out there. General Hospital crew member sue ABC. Good for you guys. Over unconstitutional woo flu, vax mandate, and religious discrimination. Go ask the Fauci how that vaccine is working for him. And finally, poor. We're talking about artists who've had concerts canceled on them. Lil Wayne was forced to cancel his comeback gig after the UK authorities denied his entry. Poor guy. Poor guy, I tell you what. I tell you what. But finally, here, people, we actually have an interesting story here from Deadline once again. Anthony DeSandrio and Dominique Patron. I can never pronounce this guy's name. The CEO of the new, what do they call it now? Warner Brothers Discovery. The CEO there. First movie crisis. What to do with Ezra Miller? I like how they put it there. Erratic. He's just erratic. The star of Warner Brothers. Crazy people. Crazy. $200 million Flash franchise launch. Try saying that 3 times fast. Even though it isn't on Warner Brothers' release calendar until June 2023, The Flash is becoming Warner Brothers Discovery CEO's first movie crisis because of the escalating coverage of incidents of volatile and odd behavior involving the film star's Ezra Miller. The CEO has made clear his desire to grow the DC universe to MCU scale, and has all the ingredients of a first foot forward, and that's a tough one there, in The Flash, including the return of Michael Keaton as Batman, along with a reprise of Ben Affleck as well. Let me grab a drink. A crazy, just silly, I don't know why, people, $200 million budget. And a hot director, and Andy, I don't know, whatever his last name there, who delivered the blockbuster It for the studio. I mean, It, The Flash, I mean, of course, they just fit right there together. The Warner Brothers Discovery CEO exercised his well-known penchant for micromanagement by declining to greenlight Wonder Twins for being too niche. The CEO will soon have to make a decision of what to do with the complicated picture that is The Flash, and what to do with a young actor who appears to have serious offset issues. Yes, indeed. Deadline has heard that the studio has tried to get help for Miller, but the troubling headlines continue to pile up. Could you send a potentially a potential liability on global publicity tour and have the actor anchor a huge studio franchise play? That is not a very good sentence there. The CEO has several choices, and he will make one of them soon. Among them, can he pull back on the heavy promotion of the summer 2023 film, confining it to some P&A and no publicity tour? Or can he relegate it to streaming with HBO Max? Holy cow. And take a write-down. I would say just take the write-down. Just don't even release it. Or lean towards making the movie a hit and then drop Miller if they can't straighten things out. Warner Brothers did that when it dropped Donnie Depp from the studio there and replaced it with Mads Mikkelsen in his Fantastic Beasts. That didn't really turn out that well, did you? Did it? There's no winning for this in Warner Brothers. Pardon me. One studio source tells us. This is an inherited problem for the CEO. The hope is that the scandal will remain at a low level before the movie is released, and hope for the best to turn out. Well, you've got an entire year of bad press here. Sources say, even if no more allegations surface, the studio won't likely keep Miller in the Flash role in future DC films. That would mean replacing him in the future, but there's still a $200 million investment on the line with the first film, and Warner Brothers execs having to be cringy at each new press report. There we go. I'm not going to get it. This is just a very weird a very odd situation here. Bear's not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into it at all, but yeah, he had an issue with that, and also some issues in Hawaii as well. Let's see. I think he was he like assaulted a woman or something like that. Guy is off the rails there. Let's see. Quote Miller. What was his name? Ezra Miller began yelling obscenities and at one point grabbed a microphone from a 23-year-old woman singing karaoke, and later lunged at a 32-year-old man playing. I don't know why you'd want to lunge at a man playing darts. The bar owner asked Miller to calm down several times with no avail, and the actor was arrested and charged on both offenses, with bail set at $500. So there you are. And also, let's see, the sort of restraining order against the actor there from the people that were staying at his home or something like that. Oh, that's right. He was choking a woman as well in Iceland. So has some a very sort of bad issues with anger out there. With anger out there. Let's see. Born in apparently, Mr. Miller was born in Whack-Off, New Jersey. Whack-Off, New Jersey. No comment. No comment from Beer there. So very interesting. What they're talking about there. I still say just go ahead and write it off. Don't even put the movie out. They had Michael Keaton, and apparently Ben Affleck coming back. We'll get into that in just a second here, but I don't know. Maybe just do a series of recuts and just cut the Flash completely out of the Flash movie. Maybe that might be the way to go. Just completely, the two Batmans, they're just there, just trading stories, Hey, you remember the time about the Flash? Oh, yeah, let me tell you about the Flash. I'll tell you what, blah, blah, blah. I think that would be the best way to go. Or just completely write it off. Just add $200 million to the price of merging with Warner Brothers out there and save yourself a whole bunch of negative press out there. Yes, indeed. All right, well, I tell you what, people, moving on from one Warner Brothers movie to another, Bear actually was able to check out the other night, or last night, I should say, the new movie, The Batman. Well, I shouldn't say new, it's been out there for a little while out there, but Bear just checked it out here. Bear kind of found this very interesting. Kind of first off, heard all the negative stuff, all the production issues that were happening out there and everything. So, am I losing? Oh, stream is healthy. Okay, good. I tell you what, people, sometimes they try to cut Beer off. But anyways, heard about all the production issues that went on. Gosh, it was $350 million or something like that for the new Batman, the Batman out there. So, heard a whole bunch of stuff. Of course, heard all about the. We'll get into it a little bit later, but just terrible casting here as far as Batman goes. The Patterson guy just wasn't doing it as far as Batman. We'll get into that just a minute there, but heard all the issues about that, and then of course the movie came out, and for about a week there, a number of people says, "Hey, actually, it's not a bad movie. It's not that bad." There was some issues there with some of the sort of wokeness there. Bear never really saw too much about that, or it was kept in the background mostly. There was no real big issue with any of that sort of stuff. But then started to hear, hey, of course, it's not that bad. The wokeness wasn't really very present in anything like that. So, okay, maybe give the movie a shot out here or something like that. And then about a week later, it died. I mean, it did okay for about a week, and then you never heard anybody saying, yeah, really, that Batman movie wasn't too bad and everything. So, let Bear give his review here of the Batman, not just Batman, but the Batman here, starring what's his name? Robert Patterson, whatever the heck his name there is. I'll start off with the good. We will start with the good here. I think there was some really good to great performances by everybody but Batman out there. I thought kind of surprised about some of the actors out there and how they were doing. Paul Dino did a great job as the Riddler. He had more acting ability in the eye behind some heavy covering of glasses and the mask and everything. He had more acting ability in his eye than Batman did in the entire movie here. I thought he did really good. What was his name? Colin Farrell. He did an excellent job there as the Penguin. I tell you what, even if it was a bad movie, it's always nice to see great actors just chewing the scenes. That's what the Penguin was doing out there. So a great job there. Some other great I would say very good performances. John Turturro did really good. Oh God, what was that guy's name there from Westworld there that played well, he wasn't Commissioner Gordon, Captain Gordon, I guess. I don't know. It was kind of odd there, but anyways, very good stuff there. They had some really good fight scenes in there. They were a little short, unfortunately, kind of at the very beginning of the movie and everything. Especially the very start to the movie when Batman is kind of fighting some subway thugs out there trying to take the guy's money or something like that. Very cool. I thought that was kind of a gritty start to everything. I did it okay. Reasonable stuff there. I thought that. Everybody talks about the car chase. You see the Batmobile there, the new Batmobile. Really good. I'd probably say one of the better car chases in the past 5 or 10 years or something like that. You don't see that many car chases these days. Maybe some of the stuff with the Mission Impossible movies or something like that. Pretty good. I guess you could say the Fast and Furious, but they've kind of went off the rails and it's kind of all CGI and stuff now. This was actually practical effects, so a really good car chase there. Some good scenes in there. They had some very decent scenes in there. The music was at certain points it was kind of okay. At certain points it was actually really good. I kind of felt the Nirvana song at the very beginning there was kind of told you where the movie was going, but Bear kind of groaned about that sort of stuff. We'll get into the emo Batman in here in just a minute, but yeah, it kind of set the very weird, very odd tone for the Batman movie here. Um, let's just go ahead. Let me switch it around here. Let's switch it. I can only show a couple of them here, but I think some of these will kind of show basically what Bear is talking about. The movie was very dark, and I don't mean that just in a theme. I mean the actual visuals. It was very dark. Bear could barely see some of this stuff that was going on. He actually was in the back room there with the lights turned off there, and you'd have the image paused. I can't tell you how many times I paused this. It was just very. All right, let's just go ahead and get right on into it. I would say this is probably the worst looking Batman that Bear's ever seen. Let's just take out all of the other kind of just side stuff for just a second. You can probably imagine just kind of in your head, okay, what would a sort of visual image of Tim Burton's Batman, what does that look like? Or you might do it with Joel Schumacher's. Okay, what does that look like? Okay, you might not agree with the Batman movies that Joel Schumacher made, but you could probably do a visual of what it looks like, even with the bat nipples out there and everything. But you can have a great visual of what Christopher Nolan did. Even so much as Zack Snyder, not a fan or anything like that, but at least he has a certain style, a certain way of doing things. I say this is probably the worst looking Batman movie that Bear has ever seen. Not only is it just completely dark, the way that they shot this, the way that the cinematographer, who really needs to be taken out and check in for glasses. I mean, he just, I don't know. It was terrible. They're doing this thing. It's kind of the opposite of what people remember a number of years ago. The shaky cam. Everybody remembers the shaky cam out there. Jason Bourne movies, that sort of deal. This is kind of the exact opposite. There's no shakiness in the cam. It is just very center focused. And the background, what we call the bokeh effect there, you see Bruce Wayne there. Look at all the people in the background. You can't. They're all blurred. It's all out of focus. It's just, I mean, not only literally, the whole movie was literally out of focus, but the story was out of focus. It's crazy, crazy out there. Hey, Peabody, good to have you here. In cricket, from the only human here. Yes, indeed. Well, I don't know if Jimny's still here or not, but we shall see. We shall see. He's been very quiet if he is. Where was Beer? I tell you what, P-Money comes in and just turns Beer all around. Just turns him all around. Anyways, I probably would say this is probably the worst Batman movie made so far. I know that is a sort of a controversial claim out there, but yeah, between the blurriness, the darkness, I, I cannot figure out a very good image to kind of put up there. There was a couple there earlier, but you know, some of these you just can't really tell. The only ones that they had were any decent, like these ones right here. Like I guess they're promotional materials or something like that. This is the only stuff that's actually in focus in anything. It was just it was so terrible, so terrible. Robert Patterson. Patterson, is that how you pronounce his name? I'm not sure, but terribly miscast in this one. I think it would have been interesting if maybe he was the villain. Maybe if they switched up the Paul Dino, Robert Patterson role. I think that would have been interesting. Maybe have him as the villain of the movie. That might have been a little bit better, but he was horribly miscast. The trying to pull off, and he's a good actor, by the way. He's not a terrible actor. He was just miscast. Trying to pull off an American accent with what's his name? Sudeikis, is it Jason Sudeikis? He played who was it? The butler there, Alfred. Trying to listen to both of them talk and trying to suppress their accents that they have there it was terrible. He was just not really well done as far as the character there. We also had some of the stuff. It was actually noticeable. Bear actually wanted to look for it, where they had the his stunt actor there whenever he was supposedly fighting in the scenes. The stunt actor was like actually like about 6 inches taller and maybe about 40 or 50 pounds heavier than Robert Patterson. So you can literally tell the difference between when he was kind of a solo and then when he was fighting. You know, you can barely see his face or something like. You can tell that was a stunt actor out there. So I tell you, just horribly miscast. I mean, you can go down the list. Michael Keaton, great. Who is next? Was it Val Kilmer? Val Kilmer, very good. A very good character actor out there. George Clooney. Say what you will about George Clooney. He played the sort of playboy Bruce Wayne out there. Very good. Hammy, sure, but really did the Bruce Wayne knock that out pretty good. Christian Bale, a lot of people are kind of iffy on that. Actually turned out to be a really great Batman. Robert Patterson, I can't. It's just not there. Let's see. That's my goal each day. How do I turn a bear around? Yes, indeed. P-Money says, I still haven't gotten around to seeing a Batman yet. Well, Beer will try to keep it spoil-free here for P-Money, but gosh, let's see, could Bear recommend to P-Money the Batman movie? It's too long. It's way too long. That's another kind of big issue with Beer. 2.5 hours long. I think Beer just kept pausing it every once in a while. It just was like, okay, let me go make a sandwich or something like that. Whatever. Kind of the thing that Bear kind of comes back to is why the movie was even made in the first place. It was supposed to be Ben Affleck that was going to do kind of a solo movie, and it was supposed to be kind of I don't know, detective-ish. You know, you're gonna get away from the Superman versus Batman or the Justice League stuff, where it's a little bit more kind of cartoony. You know, they gotta kind of bring it back down to kind of a little bit more gritty level, which they did here. They did a really good job with. I mean, if they thought that Zack Snyder was super gritty and dark, they doubled down on this one for whatever reason. I probably would have liked to have seen either a Zack Snyder version of this or maybe a Ben Affleck version of this, even if he just directed it, even if he wasn't in it or anything like that. I think the director in here just, I don't know, he wasn't very good. I'm going to blame the cinematographer, but the director, not. I don't think he understood the character very well, so that was bad. Still trying to figure out why the movie was made. There was no. The only arc there might have been the Penguin, maybe. Um, there was really Batman never had any arc. He never went. He went from being super nihilistic to being less nihilistic. I guess that's his arc a little bit. He went from gosh, I want to leave Gotham to or I don't know if I can save Gotham to yeah, you know what? I'll give it a try. I'll give it a shot. What the heck? What do I have to lose? Yeah, whatevs. That sort of deal. There was no real redemptive arc. Maybe the Catwoman lady there, although she was never really called Catwoman. Um, maybe her arc a little bit, maybe, but there was really no character development. It was just plot, 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 and then the movie is. So there it was. So the other thing, way too long. But probably the reason for that was way too many characters. If this was just a Batman fights gritty crime, kind of think of as a sort of a death wish with Batman, and that would have been fine. I think that would have been a sort of interesting thing. Think of like the very first, if you take out the what's his name, the gosh, I'm trying the Taken guy, not Liam Neeson. Anyways, the Taken guy out there, if you take out his character and just do the Batman's Begins with the sort of mob and that sort of stuff, kind of the same film a little bit there. It would have been fine there, but then they decided to add in the Penguin. He did a really great job, but they add this whole crime. That was fine, but then they added corruption. The whole city was corrupt and everything, so that became a huge big thing. They threw in Catwoman. She was fine, kind of as a kind of link between the sort of mob side of stuff and the sort of Batman investigation side of stuff. That was fine. I thought the Riddler did really great, but he was only in the film for like small little bits. I mean, he was supposed to be the main villain, and he was in it for maybe, I don't know, 15 minutes? 20 minutes, maybe at the very most. What they should have done was maybe they should have. The thing with Batman is they completely ruined the mystique of Batman. He's supposed to be, creepily crawling around and hiding in the darkness and all this other stuff. Like the first 10 minutes of the movie, Batman comes in with he goes into a room with, I don't know, they must have had half of the police force there at the, sorry, P-Money, spoiler alert slightly, they kill the mayor in the very beginning of the film there, so he goes to the crime scene there. They have like half of Gotham City police force there. Batman's just walking through, hey everybody, hey, how's it going? Hey, Bob, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And later on, Batman goes to the club. It might have been an interesting scene there, but Batman goes to the club. It totally ruined the entire mystique. I mean, you just see Batman just kind of sitting around. I have expected Batman to go shopping. Go fill up the car or something like that. Go pick up the kids from the school or something. He was just ubiquitous. He was there everywhere. It's like no, we need. Strangely enough, in a movie called The Batman, we needed less Batman out there. I think we could have used a little bit less Batman. So they kind of had a sort of thing with the very beginning of the film. So you see it through the Riddler's eyes there, as he's kind of watching the mayor there. So probably would have been really good if they would have went back to Tim Burton's Batman, where it was mainly, Batman was a little bit in the shadows there, and we're kind of going through what was her name? Vicky Vale. Vicky Vale's eyes there, what was the other guy there? Kind of going through their eyes. Batman was always a little bit in the distance there. Here, he just shows up at a bar mitzvah. He'll show up at the baby naming ceremony. He'll show up for a grand opening of a supermarket, and there's Batman there, cutting the ribbon there. They just way overused the Batman in the movie called The Batman. So that was kind of one of the odd things about the Batman there. They just had too many characters. So if they really would have just maybe had it focused on the Riddler, he was kind of doing his things, and then every once in a while the Batman would show up and they'd have a fight or whatever. That would have been pretty cool. Maybe they could have went it through. I'm trying to remember the guy's name from Westworld there. The Commissioner Gordon, although he wasn't a commissioner, for crying out loud. I don't even know what his, maybe he was I don't know, a captain, a detective? I don't know. It never really made that clear. He was bossing people around, but then he got bossed around, so I don't know. Maybe had it through kind of his eyes and kind of seeing where the Batman comes in, and then he tries to go solve a crime or something like that, and the Batman's already been there or something. That would have been pretty cool. I think that would have kind of turned it a little bit, even though you called it the Batman. Have it do through another character's eyes or something like that. Even through the Penguin, just have it through his sort of a crime sort of community that he has there, kind of doing the mob stuff there, and every once in a while the Batman will show up and interdict a drug thing or something like that. That might have been pretty cool. Instead, we had old emo Batman here, just kind of just sulking around, kind of I don't know, maybe I'll go save the day. By the way. So they had a really cool car scene there, car chase there with the Penguin and the Batman there. And they had a crash. There was a big crash. The Penguin gets away there, or thinks he gets away. And they have this huge fireball. Like there's several semi-trucks that tip over, and a couple of them explode and all this stuff. How many people died in that scene? Like there's like this huge fiery crash, and all of a sudden, Batman's like, screw it, I'm gonna go chase the Penguin there. Screw all those other people. Like really, I don't know if he would. I don't know if he would be. He would at least try to save some of those people and then go after the Batman. But I don't know. Very kind of odd. It was very media res. So they made the same mistakes as the Zack Snyder stuff, where they didn't have like a Batman movie before they did the Batman versus Superman. So they needed more information there. They decided to go. Not show the traditional what was his name? Bruce Wayne Sr., whatever his name was, getting killed, him and Martha Wayne getting killed there. They never showed that, but basically the entire movie subplot was all about that, so I don't know why they didn't. They actually showed a orphan there with his dad getting killed and everything, so it was just, I don't know. One of the most pointless Batman movies ever. That is Bear's recommendation out there if you want to go see this. One of the most pointless Batman movies ever made. The darkest Batman movie Bear's ever seen. Totally miscast with the character there. All the other characters were fine. Really did a great job. Except for the title character, Batman. That's kind of a big thing there when your title character just doesn't work out. So unfortunately. Oh, I'm sorry, P-Money. Let's see. We were actually just talking about Ezra Miller before you got here. Does Ezra Miller appear in the Batman movie? I'm sure that will help it. No, this is the weirdest thing. I think they are. Uh-oh, did I lose it? I think what they're trying to do is do different. I hate to use the term different universes. So like this is supposed to be part of the. When they were first coming up with the movie with Ben Affleck and everything, that it was supposed to be part of the whole universe with the Flash and Superman and all. It went kind of a completely different direction with the Joker. So I don't know if they're doing kind of like solo type deal or multiverse or whatever. I think the Flash is going to be some sort of multiverse thing. It's very confusing when you can't have a very concise plot in a Batman movie. Batman tries to stop the Penguin and the Riddler. That's pretty easy. You don't need to. And of course, they completely complicated everything here. But what can you do? What can you? No, Ezra Miller was not in the movie. At least there wasn't a whole lot of how would you call it? Supernatural, a traditional sort of comics sort of thing. It was more a sort of less Joel Schumacher Batman and more Christopher Nolan, Zack Snyder Batman. Although they took the Zack Snyder and just doubled down on the darkness and the sort of hopelessness and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I don't know where they're tying all this stuff in. I would close up this sort of. They think they're going to try and do a franchise. They have like several TV shows. Close it up. Just close up shop. Just completely. If they don't close up shop, just completely replace Robert Patterson. Just don't even explain why. Just, I'll put George Clooney in there for no reason other than just to put him back in there. Let's see. That is a good question with the Batmobile. Does he fill it up with gas cans or does he actually fill it up at the station? He has a bat cave. It's so silly. I don't even. Uh, it makes Bear's brain hurt. It makes it hurt so much. Um, it's kind of a cool Batmobile. They don't show it very much. It's all dark. You can hardly see it. I guess it's sort of like a 1970s style vehicle there. I don't know. I don't know. It's really kind of interesting because it shows him at the very beginning of the movie where he kind of is walking around in public, covered up a little bit. You know, he's got the hat or maybe the big jacket or something like that around him. But like he's carrying the backpack with all his Batman equipment in it, I guess. So like it shows him changing. They have like this thing in the subway where they're trying to rob this guy or something like that. And they're cutting back and forth between the two, and they're showing Batman getting dressed and everything. It was silly. It was silly. And then of course, like his bat suit is like, I don't know, iron, metal. They hear him like clump, 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 clump. Kind of walking down or whichever. So like how heavy is that gun? It reflects bullets, so it's got to be pretty heavy. But yeah, I mean, you see the guy. He weighs like maybe $150 or something like that, but he puts on the bat suit, and the bat suit probably weighs like 300 pounds. So I don't know how that works. And then he's trying to do all the action and everything. It just doesn't. It's the most pointless Batman movie ever. The most pointless Batman movie ever. I tell you what, people. Well, anyways, let's go ahead. See, there's the Flash right there. We were talking about it. Yes, we were. By the way, since I actually have somebody here, Bear is very proud that he actually figured this out, to be money. He finally figured out how to put in the chat here. It took him long enough, but here we go. There is the chat. Let's see. Oh, he's wearing a hat. Well, if he's wearing glasses, I can't read that. Let's see. He's wearing a hat. Well, if wearing glasses helps Superman. Yeah, it's okay. Let me explain how stupid this movie is. So Batman goes to. I'm sorry, spoiler alert. The mayor is murdered. So he goes to the crime scene there, right? They're all there. All the police are hanging around. They have the FBI there. Whatever. So like they're doing like everything that they would normally do at the crime scene. They have the photographer there, and he's taking pictures of all the different stuff. So he's taking pictures of Batman there, right? So he's got the cowl on, but you can still see most of his face. And then like Bruce Wayne shows up at his funeral later, and they can't put two and two together there. They can't put that he didn't even change his voice. Like what was his name? The guy that did it previous, not Ben Affleck, who did it before that. Oh gosh. Christian Bale. Christian Bale had that Batman voice. He never even changes his voice. It's just the same voice. It's so stupid, people. It is so stupid. They tried so hard to make it this very gritty, very just like I don't know. They got rid of Zack Snyder because he was too dark and gritty, and then brought in the new guy that did the Planet of the Apes movies, and then let's go make it darker and grittier, and also out of focus where you can't see anything. Yeah, that'll work. So very terrible, very terrible. My chats are appearing on screen. I'm famous. There we go, P Money. Well, people are going to start asking for money. So watch out. Don't go crazy like Ezra Miller over there and start throwing chairs and choking people out there. That would be terrible. Well, look at that screen. That P-Money guy really floods the chat. That's why I needed Jiminy Cricket here, but he just showed up very quickly. I think probably before Bear got on. He kind of leaves it, he leaves it open so people can say, oh, okay, Bear's going to be on in 20, 30 minutes or something like that. So you can adjust your time out there. Yes, indeed. Oh, by the way, P-Money, before you go, actually, Bear had the story here. You totally missed it. Let me find it. Where am I at? Of course, the heartwarming story of the day and Bear's favorite team out there. Yes, indeed. We're talking about Bathroom Becky. Yes, indeed. I don't know if I should read the entire story all over again here, but we've got our secret weapon, and it's Bathroom Becky out there. Yes, indeed. So there is old Bathroom Becky cheering on the Tampa Bay Lightning. As opposed to any Canadian team out there. anyways, we had a fun deal with that. So if you want to check that out, just hit that rewind button here, because Bear's going to go ahead and wrap it up here pretty shortly here. So let me click out of that. Oh, good old Bathroom Betty out there. Becky, I should say. Bathroom Becky. Yes, P-Money does flood the chat, but that's all right. We enjoy the chats out there. We enjoy it even from Jiminy Cricket. We enjoy it from P-Money occasionally. We also enjoy, haven't seen them around in quite a while, but our Russian bots out there. Probably too busy fighting the Ukrainian bots out there. They're just in a battle royale between each other. Yes, indeed. All right, well, I tell you what, if you were like P-Money and got here late, we had a number of interesting stuff out there. Talking about the return of Nina. I tell you what, people. Craziness out there. We actually had the other crazy news story out there was that John Hinckley Jr. Got denied his comeback tour concert. Yes, indeed. So, watch out, concert providers out there. John Hinckley might be coming to get you. Yes, indeed. Let's see. We were talking about a Bathroom Becky out there. Yes, indeed. Of course, we were talking about the craziness with Ezra Miller. I tell you what, that complete write-off there, $200 million. By the way, I'm still just angry at the Batman movie. They spent $350 million on a movie that looked like it cost maybe $50 million. We'll just say $75 million with some of the actors out there. Maybe they need a little bit more money. Where did the money go? Anyways, we were talking about the Batman and the good and plenty bad out there. But yes, indeed, that was everything there. Oh, okay, sounds good, Bear. Have a good day. Thank you, P-Money. Do appreciate that, and do appreciate everybody out there. And it slides by. Usually we do this every Wednesday and Saturday. So thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend out there, and we will see you, hopefully, on Wednesday. Yes, indeed. But you know what? All of this Batman talk has made Bear hungry. So he's going to head back into the woods. So until next time, people, grrrr.